Welcome back to Punchline Africa TV. We continue with our discussion, the role of the youth in security, governance, and development in Africa. What have the youths done? How far can we help the youth to secure a future that will make them be better people, better citizens of this African continent? What can you do? What's your contribution? Tell us from everywhere on the continent, in the global countries where you are, in the diaspora, in the United States. What can you do to help the youth in Africa to have a stable future so that in these countries, they have their own means to stand up and support their countries instead of looking for alternative radical means? We are looking at the radicalization of the youth. Why are people preying on the youth? Why youth? Why don't you come for 56-year-old to go and do the jobs that are being done today? Why do you allow the youth? These are the questions. With me in the studio, as we were, Dr. Jeff Kaluyu.
Thank you for having me.
A brother from the United States of America, born in Kitui, raised in Kitui, humble family. He's here to talk to us. Doc, let's proceed. The role of the youth. We have looked at democracy. Is it too much democratization, too much social democracy, social contract? We have already seen the families in Africa. Some of them have collapsed. The family bond is not there. So many divorce. Actually, the marriage is 2 weeks maximum in Africa today. In church, it goes off. Things have fallen apart. If we are reading in the Congo, the things fall apart. Chinawa Achebe book, page 53. You remember, I think it says, yes, it says a white man has put a knife on the things that held us together.
That's true.
We are falling apart.
Yes.
Obierika was telling Okonko that perhaps you have been away for too long. Have you been away for too long? No. Let's discuss the youth, the changes that are coming, the fanatism that people are picking. Why? What is going on? What do we do to stop fanatism, to stop people taking our youth into bad direction in Africa? You are an expert in that field. Talk to us.
Thank you for that question. You kind of almost can qualify to be a mind reader.
Yes.
Because those things kind of swirl in my mind. And I'm glad it is disturbing everyone for Africa and across the world. So we have seen the determinants for the youth is most of the times the youth who get radicalized, they have no jobs or they are underemployed, maybe from weak families. They do not have role models. So if we look at that, it is they form, as a matter of fact, many of them, they are using social media, but from many African countries where poverty, there is a bigger, I would think there is, what I've seen on research is there's a bigger group that knows social media very well, who go after the young youth. But the youth, they go after the vulnerable ones who may not even be on the social media. Now, what is happening is that when they are promised small amount of money because they have nothing else to do, they are looking for some little gain. And these other people are very smart. They are educated. Most terrorists these days are very educated. I remember, September 11th, and those were people with master's degrees and everything else. They are not just fools. So they come and manipulate their mind, promising them lives and ideologies, the benefits that are really bad.
Is it a religion?
It's an ideology. It's an ideology.
Because not every religion has this type of. Let's be very frank here,
yes,
because
yes.
this is a punchline.
Punchline.
Yes.
Yeah.
This punchline. Why is it that one religion in the world has become radicalized by the section of them? Have radicalized themselves. If you are not looking at the youth in Africa, you also look at the youth in the UK, United Kingdom, where partly this television is based. Most of them are educated. They have gone to school. They have gone to Oxford, Cambridge, London School of Economics. Some of them have a social welfare system that pays your check on Friday, even if you have no employment. Why do they leave those areas and then they go into bad habits? In Africa, you could blame it on bad policies, as we have seen, or broken families. But in the UK and America, they give us no insight.
I would say it happens, and remember, in research science, we say correlation does not prove causation. What I mean is that just because two things are related doesn't mean one is causing the other. There's definitely a relationship between radicalization and I would say, is it Muslim religion?
Yes.
There is a correlation. But I have friends who are Muslims, good people, like really good people.
We grew up with everybody.
The religion itself is not a religion that causes problem. There are what we call a radical extremists within the religion.
It goes back to the peer group, the center again.
The center
which
again.
you talked about.
Yes. And even in any other religion, you can easily find people who extremely practice, they don't take medicine. I mean, in Christian religion, there are people who, even if you get sick, you don't take medicine. So they practice, I'm not saying they're extreme, but that's an extreme way of practicing, religion.
You die because you have refused to take some tablets.
Some tablets. So there is definitely no question in my mind. There are radical extremists within their religion, and even many of their fellow religious people, they don't even approve that level. So those are the people we have to watch, particularly, and they're on social media, they are everywhere. Now, remember, they train, it's an ideology they form. If you do this, you die, you get, 72 wives. And
but there are very many here. You can as well get as many as you want. Surely, why should you die? That's your subject. That's why I want to know. There are many wives on earth. You can approach any. Why do you choose to go and die and wait where you don't know?
I think terrorism is based on a lie. It is based on a lie because you are promised all these wives, you are promised good life, you are promised an AK-47. Because a vulnerable young man sporting a K-47 is a good feeling, and you are given some jungle stuff, but when you get there, first they beat you up. I mean, what I have read, they beat you up.
Indoctrinate you.
You are mistreated. That a couple of dollars you thought you're going to get, you don't really get it. You don't see your family, and you have no way out. Once you get in, there is almost no way out unless you are killed.
I studied the conflict. As a conflict resolution
I know you did
expert, I picked something just now. Abductions, for example. I did a peace process of the Lord Resistance Army and the government of Uganda. Most of the people who formed the bulk of the LRA were abducted.
And they have no way out.
Forced to kill. Most of them. Most of the commanders that you see paraded for the ICC, which is a bigger chapter, some of them were told if you don't kill 20, you will be killed. So you mean this is also happening in this extremism angle of Islamic following, which is extreme from the main is Islam, which we know very good Islam, neighborhood, looking after people, cooking the best rice. I remember I used to eat the best rice when there is Maulidi, something called Maulid. Maulid, which is Maulidi in our country is called Maulid. What do you think of this?
And again, just to correct myself, Islam, I mean, so that I don't confuse Muslims and Islams, but I'm saying Islam religion is not necessarily bad. It is the extremists. Now, when you see, they have, and I can say, In some ways, they win by training these people very effectively by telling them they promise them these wives and all this good life. This is where we have failed. When they are busy training our youth, we are watching and discussing it, and we are just criticizing. We like criticizing, sitting down and seeing where the problem is. We should be on the opposite end.
Platforms like these ones.
Exactly.
Talk about them.
Talk about how the way forward, like in Punchline,
Yes.
in Africa,
Yes.
and also training our youth. When they are training, we should be busy training our youth.
Yes.
Training
Looking at their homework.
looking at their homework. As
Yes.
a matter of fact, exactly, and not to get
Yes.
onto those,
Yes.
the phones and everything else. Remember, and you talked about diaspora, every youth, most of the youth, they have a home. If every diaspora became a role model of their village, if everybody in the city became a role model of their, we have abandoned our youth, and instead of blaming them and criticizing where they come from, to bring them to the fold, we need to go out there and reach out to them, be around. It's hard work. It's easy to sit on a TV, and it is easy to talk in a suit. The hard work is not in the suit and in nice shoes. The hard work is getting to the village, knowing exactly what Tim or Njoroge
Yes.
is up to, and understanding
Yes.
him and bringing him to the fore. It's our responsibility.
Yes.
It is our country. We must own it.
Owning it is good. Governance,
Yes.
does it give us the roots to own the youth? Or today, does governance in Africa deter extremism? Does governance in Africa help to recruit more bad governance, which I mean?
I love the question.
Yes,
Yeah.
bad governance and
Yeah.
good governance. But are these some of the things that make youth get this granted?
Yeah.
They have already picked a political career. You know, we have answered the crisis. We have come family broken down. We have come potential not realized. Where do we leave a vulnerable youth?
Governance. And, maybe I've mentioned too many times the president that he says, bring the ideas.
Yes.
Come for a cup of coffee.
Yes.
Bring the ideas and let's discuss them. Now, you see, the youth radicalization and what we are calling violent extremism, it has far roots than just being recruited, doctor. The youth look up within our community. They see people with big cars. The youth look up and they see the price for the bribe is very high. They look up and they see only the network of the big and well-privileged are really able to reach into the society. The government as a role, there is, if you look deeper, corruption,
Yes.
bribery,
Yes.
having not to be fair in the society, sort of cartel system,
Yes.
has something to do with radicalization of the youth, because they cannot penetrate. If we lowered the corruption,
Yes.
the youth can be told, if you work hard, play by the rules, you can actually make it. So the government will need to do more in making sure they reduce corruption. They need to fight it. I can see they are starting to fight it very well. But there is more to do, we know that. It is not something that was made yesterday. These things have been made for a long time. So it will take some time. I would like to ask Kenyans and people across Africa to give their leaders some chance after the election, so that it is not always about the politics in between them. Give them
We see
ideas.
Doc, Jeff,
Yes.
we see a lot of politics.
Yes.
After elections,
Yes.
disgruntled
Yes.
people,
Yes.
people continue to do politics
Yes.
even after
After.
a clear win
Yes.
or a doubted win,
Yes.
even if it is doubted. Elections everywhere. You live
Yeah.
in America,
Yes, it's always doubted
where
too.
it was in Ohio.
Yes. Yes.
The state of Ohio always decides.
Go versus Bush versus
Yes,
Gore in
you
1990s.
saw it. It ended up in the Supreme Court to
Court.
decide who takes the presidency.
Yeah.
Elections, to me, and the governance
Yes.
should be looked at from a different model.
Yes.
We see models that create a lot of hardships instead of creating solutions.
Yes.
Now, looking at this from a bad governance or from a good governance,
Yes.
because we have already seen youth also coming from first world.
Yes, yes.
Look at the first world of America. We have so many jihadists
Yes, yes,
leaving United States of America with the road that takes you
Yeah.
to God quickly. And then you come faster.
Yeah.
You come to go to a bush from a first world. So there is no difference here between the first and
Yes.
this is a program for the entire youth.
Yes.
So let's come to one factor, development.
Yes.
What role have the youth played in developing Africa? Is it constructive? Is it negative? Is it what?
Yes.
What do you... What,
Development, it is something that has amazing potential because we are reducing, unpacking the benefits from the level of federal government to the devolved level. Basically using simple language. Out of mind, out of sight, out of mind.
Yes.
In other words, you are likely to identify the youth who are in need. The county, they know the youth by the name. They know the parents. County has the best shot in fighting corruption and has the best shot in fighting terrorism and radicalization. They also know that youth, who hangs out with that youth. They need to make the hard decision, the hard effort. It's not easy. It's easy to talk and lecture them in church and everything else. The hard job is we need to support other youth to go and buddy with those who are vulnerable and bring them back to the fore. The government needs to create policies. It is simple. It is not that hard. It is simpler than just pumping money into it. We give people money, they go and put them together, they lecture them the whole day. Do you know one thing as a university campus dean and a professor of young people? Young people don't like being lectured.
Yes, I know.
I'm telling you, if you tell them the youth and...
You say it, I know. I have very many of them. Maybe even the workplace. The more you lecture,
they lose them.
They say when you come stamping authority as the head of a department,
yes.
you find some people, when you are not there, they say, whoa, but they don't know.
Yes.
You are trying to mentor.
Yes.
I think for me, for example, a person like me who was caned
I remember
in front of other people.
Who parade, yeah.
Yes, they came. My father used to cane me. He never bothered about thousands of people present. I remember this is a talking show. Remember in the secondary school, we led a strike against Idi Amin, soldiers who were coming, beating us. Yeah. So I led a strike. And my father brought me back, my uncle, because my father was in exile. My uncle brought me back to school and ordered for me to be given 20 lashes.
That's a lot.
In front of 570 students watching. And I was told to carry sand until the car park was full. So I thought he was joking. He said, you better go down. I went down. Luckily enough, it was a boys' school. Manjasa High School was the boys' school. The girls were not there. But the girls were next door. And you know the biggest worry are girls. So look at that scenario. From that scenario, I learned when I see a youth, I always try to avoid the tendency of saying, lie down.
That's true, too.
So I use the brain and the experience that I have to say, you are going different way. But some of them, it's true what you have said, they don't like
to be lectured.
To be lectured. So is this a social problem? Is it a digital problem? Is it WhatsApp? Is it, what is this? So in development, does it deter development?
Yeah, you have to go and touch them personally. You need to be able, and as a matter of fact, touching them, we don't have to just say, oh, go and understand and be buddy. Sometimes you buy them, you know, something to eat, because young people, all the young people, and you have hired many, they know something you don't know about the rest of the youth. They know when so-and-so gets hungry, they know he can do anything. He will go and bring down so much violence. They know who it is, but you will never notice, because when you come, you see them, everybody, they have hands down and they are busy trying to respect. That's our African culture. So who do you think is best positioned to actually go and actually mentor that person? It is the fellow youth. Now, you have said something about girls that is very important.
Yes.
When I was doing HIV research, actually, you know, some of the worry was unprotected sex and all those things. And then they had studies where girls were being told how to say no. Then later they realized, you know, the best person really to lead this is the boys.
Yes.
Telling the other boys, do not touch girls, leave them alone. Yes. You have to understand them. So the girls did not have to say no so many times. You just brought an idea. I mean, I'm educated, so I'm thinking girls can be involved. They have a soft voice. And boys, youth, fear them just the way you fear them.
I used to fear.
So
Tororo girls, very, you know it, across in Tororo,
yes.
was one of the best girls' school.
Yes.
And the Manjas was next. We are separated by a fence.
Yes.
And I used to, when I was going to lie down for these whips, they
you don't want them to see that.
I first looked to the other side, whether they were seeing or not.
Or not.
But
so
come to that before you answered.
Yeah.
Come to that. Look at the HIV. You brought the HIV problem in Africa, the prevalence of HIV.
Yes.
Uganda, for example,
took
a lead in Africa.
ABCs, yes.
Yes, as the first country in Africa that educated people about the HIV.
Yes, yes.
That you go to Kampala and you find a very beautiful lady at the counter of the club. He says, oh, I think I am HIV. So the ladies tell you in Kampala, they say, please, oh, doctor, you have arrived from where? New York, but as we go, we have to use a condom, simply because I'm HIV.
Yes.
You say what? So we have a friend, a place called, this is a true story.
Yes, yes.
Which is half London.
Half London.
So half London meant that glasses were left half.
Okay.
Because men used to avoid finishing their glasses after being told that when you finish, we shall go, but you have to know I'm HIV. So the gentleman runs. The gentleman runs to the toilet and comes back and says, no, you know what? He calls the barman. You know that pill, keep it until tomorrow I will come. So they named this place Half London. Because the glasses were half. Somebody has told you that, no, I am HIV. Surely. Where do you move? So this is the type of that. I'm bringing it to show the type of frankness. We need people who are frank, open, and stand up to say, no, you are coming to radicalization.
Yes, yes.
You want to radicalize me and take me to Syria.
Yes, yes.
What is it there in Syria?
In Syria.
In fact, if we have many of these youth talking like that, the level of the extremism would go down. And then immediately report to the nearest chief and they say, you know, this guy came today. That's what happens in Uganda today.
Yes.
As soon as you stop in, you are picked. People know. You can't steal, you can't take it in Uganda. They will find it within a few hours. Because it's a new car, they will see what you are doing and they will report. So we need that amongst the youth, isn't it?
That is true. In fact, there is a relation between that training of HIV and radicalization. Because HIV is a national threat.
Yes.
Radicalization,
just as extremism is a national threat.
Yes. The same way, the same principles that you used to, it is the principle, not really the kind of training. how you went with ABC. Everybody in Uganda knew abstinent, ABC, and to make sure that they curb the disease, and they knew it is their responsibility. And they led the world into that. And now, like I said in the beginning, as they train our youth, we need to be training them twice. Apply all the tools, including the girls that you said they fear.
Yes.
We have tendency to listen to ladies.
Yes.
The lady will come and tell you, what are you trying to do?
Yes.
Why are you going to those places? Do you want coffee?
Yes.
You'll be very happy to go and have coffee. And they tell them, stop being an extremist.
Yes.
If you have a problem, here's my number. Call me. We have more actually men being radicalized.
In fact, good intelligence systems using women.
Even the women to get involved in our villages and be part of the whole. The parents also need to put effort to understand the young people. We have tendency of, now these days we have tendency, with the internet has changed the whole dynamic. Because I've gone to the cafeteria or to a restaurant and everybody sits down, a wife sits there, a man sits there, and everybody also, they are actually texting each other. And then the kids, when they don't want to talk to the parents, they start text, they say, what are we eating? They are texting and all that kind of stuff. And they are in the same table. Do you want, I want to go. And then the other one is, and then you look at them and they smile. So we can use every tool they have, and then we come to their level, we understand the new way of doing it, and if we tell them we're going to beat them like the time before, they're not going to listen to us. So we need to put a lot of effort in understanding them and bringing them back to the fore.
Development. What do you think African governments, in punch points, what do you think African governments can do to develop the welfare of the youth, both men and women? Because when we talk about youth in Africa, people look at the male. Most, the whole thing, say youth, they think of that youth who is coming to beat you, but they have forgotten that there is a female youth. The ladies now, we need equality. We need equality. We need the gender balance. We need the youth to come up. What do you think?
They need to strengthen the devolved government. There has been a lot of accusations of corruption. That there needs to be accountability and responsibility to really understand the role. I do not feel the role of devolved government is fully understood as a tool to reach the grassroots. So they need to understand the development law very well. Number two, they need to reach out to the community and develop capacity within the villages, reaching deep into the village, because that was the purpose in the first place. I have trained some leaders from different countries, including Nigeria. My passion is to do with the counties and how they function.
Devolution.
Devolution. I have gone to see...
You are an expert also on devolution.
Devolution.
You are helping the government of Kenya to restructure devolution. Is it true?
Access.
Yes, access devolution.
To the
type
offices,
of American devolution.
Access to the offices.
What are the two things, Prof?
I think access...
Punch them.
Access.
Yes.
Cost and quality of service to the community. Let's start with access. Access, the devolved government needs to know that the offices belong to the people. You have to be able to access the governor.
Yes.
And there has to, of course, I understand there has to be order. The governor needs to have a book.
Yes.
But what some of my complaints that I'm hearing is that accessing a governor is very difficult.
Yes.
The chief of staff will tell you it cannot be done, it is done, it's tomorrow, it is not this. The access of the government is very important.
Yes.
Number two, the cost. It is costing too much to do things. Every time is pesa mashinani, or money needs to go back to the government, to the communities, but we are not seeing where it is going. The roads are still messed up. The quality of service, they need to train people. They have just hired maybe old school, you know, just the people who are there or not well-trained people. I would like to see people who are well-trained. Call people from the diaspora. They are ready to do business with to do business. Yes. Hire people from Nairobi, bring them back to the village, reclaim your village by bringing quality back and accessing to people. Do the hard work. Most of African we are used to neocolonialism, where you sit down and be served. We need to serve Africa instead.
Jeff.
Yes.
Just We take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, in the remaining minutes, we want to punch at your books, many of them that you have written. We just want to finally tell the world your contacts, Dr. Jeff speaking.com. So we want to look at that in the final part and combine it with the youth, security, governance, development. It's one of the youth started over many years ago. Here is, thank you, welcome, Punch Africa TV. Keep listening.